Hi friends, welcome to the Altenew Modern and Edgy video hub. Today I'm creating a bunch of alcohol ink backgrounds and pairing them with the diamond frame cover die, as well as the fancy hugs die from Altenew. The paper I have in front of me is a piece of photo paper trimmed down to A2 size. The hairdryer I'm using has a low heat setting. The alcohol ink I'm using today is Altenew reinkers or alcohol inks for Altenew markers. I also have 99% isopropyl alcohol filled into tiny bottles and then some pinata brass diluted with alcohol filled in another bottle. So I start by adding a blob of ink to the center of my paper and some alcohol around it. I also add a dash of gold right in between before I start blowing my ink around. So how the amount of wisp or softness you get really depends on the amount of alcohol you use. The mistake most people do is they're very conservative or try to use very little bit of alcohol, and that causes dark pools of ink and a lot of harsh lines to form. So using more alcohol actually keeps it fluid, allows the ink to flow more freely, and gives you these really gorgeous effects that you'll enjoy. Another trick to controlling the flow of ink is holding the heat tool as close to the paper as possible and right above it, perpendicular to it. Now, if you're not happy with a small area that you've created, you can always bring in a Q-tip drenched in alcohol and wipe away the area that you're not happy with or you don't like. With cheaper medium light photo paper that I'm using, you might find that you're left with a little stained area, which is okay for me. But if you're not happy about it, or if you want to have more control over cleaning, then you need to step up to a better medium. I recommend Nara paper. I use that for more of my fine art pieces where I want to clean up, you know, more nicely for a piece that's going to hang on someone's wall. Well, I'm quite happy with this background, and I'm going to move on to the next piece where I'm going to be creating some ripples. So I'm adding alcohol along a diagonal path on my paper. Again, be generous and add a few drops of the ink. Here I'm using raspberry, which is a beautiful pink shade of ink. Then I add some gold on top of that and start working on my ripples. First, I move the ink around a little bit so it is kind of in a more fluid state. And then I start moving the heat tool in straight lines from one edge to the other to create those rippled lines. Feel free to hold your paper up from one side so you can control the flow of ink with the way it flows. And then from the other side, I'm just using my heat tool to keep pushing it backwards. So that pushing is what creates those beautiful ripple lines. This is just one card that I'm making today, but yes, if you're interested, let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to make a more detailed tutorial on how to make these ripples. Anyway, and I do tip the paper over and remove any excess ink so I don't have to worry about creating a blob in one corner. So the next card is going to be again pinks, but this time I'm just doing pink inks and drying it up. So this is just a different way of doing things. So where you have dry blobs of ink and you can just reactivate it using the diluted gold and blow it around to create individual little wisps around those blobs. So it's a slow and steady process, and I just take my time and enjoy myself as I activate the ink on each blob and then just blow it around to create those movement and that action. I don't know how to describe it, to be honest. It's just so fun, though. It takes a lot of time. You have to go slow and patient. This video is sped up almost 4 times. So it's not as quick and easy as it seems. It's easy, of course, but it's just not as quick. So you need to take your time and blow around really slowly. Keep your heat tool in the lowest possible setting so it blows air slowly and it's not too hot. So that way your paper doesn't warp and you have a lot of control over where exactly the ink is flowing. But end of the day, alcohol inks are all about flowing, and I'm just trying to create some balance here. There's not too much control, but it's more about balance, right? So I have a lot of ink on one side and too much of white space on the other. So I just go ahead and add some more ink, dry it up, and then activate it again. And then I control the way I want it to flow. All right, so now I'm going to turn on some music so you can just relax and watch me play around with alcohol inks. I do create three more panels, one that is a combination of that teal and pink. And then I also try to bring in some honey and milk chocolate. Well, those are the names of alcohol inks from Altenew. So yeah, go ahead, relax and watch. I do like to, just add alcohol inks, alcohol, and then blow it around. And then when I'm not too happy and kind of things look a little shabby, I just add a whole lot of alcohol and move it all again until it is to my liking. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and you will hear some music. Alrighty, I'm back now, almost finishing up with my last panel. I did have a blast. I got carried away and ended up with six backgrounds that are ready to go. I bring in my Altenew Gilded cardstock and picked out two shades of gold based on the colors that I thought it would work well with to cut out my Hugs sentiment. I also bring in some reflective gold cardstock and cut out the diamond frames and also a couple more hugs out of it and use a liquid adhesive to add them to my individual panels. Once I'm happy with the way all my panels look, I bring in some card bases and pop up each of these panels using foam tape. I do use a lot of foam tape to attach my panels to the card bases. It is a little bulky when it comes to actually mailing them out, but I like the extra oomph and dimension it adds to my cards, and I don't mind the extra, whatever, 20 cents it takes to mail these cards out. Well, I do have a lineup of all the images for these cards so you can see how they look one by one. You can also pop over to my blog if you like to see individual pictures of each of these cards, including some close-ups. I also have a supply list in the description below if you do choose to shop for any of my supplies used in the cards today. It helps me earn a little extra commission at no extra cost to you, and I appreciate the support. Finally, if you liked my video, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that like button. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.